Ultamize. If you want more consistency in your productivity, focus on what happens between tasks, not just during them. Most people pay attention to the task itself. They think about how to start, they think about how to finish, but they ignore the transition. And that's where a lot of time is lost. For example, you finish one task and then pause. You check something unrelated. You take a quick break that turns into a longer one. And before you realize it, the next task has been delayed. This happens multiple times throughout the day, not because of the tasks themselves, but because of the gaps between them. Those gaps create drift, and drift reduces momentum. The key is to make transitions intentional, not automatic. For example, when you finish a task, decide immediately what you'll do next. Don't leave it open ended. Don't rely on how you feel in the moment. Have a clear next step ready. That keeps you moving forward. Another effective approach is to define short reset points because transitions can feel mentally heavy. You're shifting from one type of thinking to another. That requires adjustment. For example, after completing a task, take a brief, structured pause, take a breath, stand up, then begin the next task within a defined time frame. This creates a clear break without losing momentum. It also prevents unplanned distractions. Another important factor is reducing transition friction, because sometimes the next task feels harder to start than the one you just finished, and that creates resistance. For example, if your next task requires setup, preparation, or decision making, you're more likely to want to delay it. That's normal. But if you prepare for transitions in advance, that resistance decreases. For example, before finishing your current task, take a moment to prepare what you'll need next. Open that document, gather the materials, define the first step. That way, when you transition, you can begin immediately. This keeps the flow going. Another useful technique is to group related tasks together because switching between very different types of work increases the difficulty of transitions. For example, moving from deep focused work to administrative tasks and then back again requires multiple mental shifts. Each shift takes time and energy. But when similar tasks are grouped together, transitions are much smoother. You stay in a consistent mode for longer periods. That reduces the friction. It also improves efficiency. Another point to consider is awareness, because many transitions happen without conscious thought. You move from one thing to another without even realizing how much time is being lost in the process. For example, a quick check of something unrelated during a transition can easily extend into several minutes, and those minutes accumulate. By becoming aware of transitions, you can manage them more effectively. You can notice when you're drifting, and you can redirect your attention. Another helpful approach is to set time boundaries for transitions. Give yourself a specific amount of time to switch tasks. Maybe it's 1 minute, maybe it's 2 minutes. I'm not asking you to count down to the second. Just don't make it open ended. This creates structure, and structure reduces delay. It also keeps your day moving at a steady pace. The goal is not to rush, the goal is to maintain continuity because continuity supports progress. When you move smoothly from one task to the next, you use your time more effectively and you reduce the likelihood of getting stuck between tasks. So start paying attention to the spaces in your day, not just the tasks. Notice how you transition. Decide what comes next before you finish what you're doing. And keep those transitions simple and intentional because how you move between tasks determines how much you actually get done.